Hey, and welcome back to ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. I'm your host, Tafreed Butt, the founder of ZÁY SHEEN, a brand rooted in sustainable and ethical elegance. Today's guest has not only redefined sustainability, she's built a global movement around it. Helena Mansell-Stopher is the founder and CEO of Products of Change, a worldwide organization helping brands, retailers, and creators transition toward a more sustainable and regenerative future. From leading partnerships with United Nations to creating the first ever sustainability in licensing conference, Helena has built an ecosystem where collaboration replaces competition and knowledge becomes the catalyst of change. And knowledge becomes the catalyst for change. With over 27 years of experience in global brands like Metal, Marvel, and National Geographic, Helena's mission is to bridge the gap between creativity and conscious action. I'm honored to welcome her today to discuss her journey, her mission through Products of Change, and the power of building an industry that thrives by doing good. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Helena Mansell-Stopher. Before we jump in, if the conversations like this matters to you, we bring on people who are shaping conscious fashion, sustainability, and intentional living without the noise or performative talk. So if you would like more conversations like this, take a second to subscribe to the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. It helps the show reach the right people and it allows us to keep bringing conscious voices to the table. You can also share this webisode with someone who would appreciate. All right, let's get into it. Thank you very much for joining me here at the ZÁY SHEEN Webisode with a wonderful guest, Helena.
Hey.
Hey, Helena, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Of course, it is my pleasure. It's been a long time waiting, being honest.
Sorry, we've been busy.
No. I just told you everything happened for a good reason, right?
Exactly.
Okay, of course, it's a pleasure to have you. How's your day going?
Well, good. We are just, as I was saying earlier on, we've just finished our POC conference, and then we've been out with some of our community for the last couple of weeks as well.
Beautiful.
So we're all just finishing off the year, wrapping up a really great year, and then doing all of our final planning for next year.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna go in depth in that because I've been following your the event, the POC event, and it just looked phenomenal. The impact that you guys are making. So yeah, we'll start from with the introduction. So for those watching from home who might not be familiar with you yet, could you share a bit about who you are, what you do, and why this conversation is the one they should listen to?
Oh, yes. So, hello, everybody. I'm Helena, and I am the founder here at Products of Change. And I like to call myself the chief connector. We're going to be talking about our journey of Products of Change and how we're transitioning a whole industry to reduce its environmental impact. And I think you should hang around just to learn about the how, because industry is all about people, and it's people that make the change. And so how can you help drive change within what you do?
Awesome. I mean, it's one of the biggest thing right now is to put people first, which you're doing. And let's start right there. Take us back to the beginning. What first inspired you to create Product of Change and bring the industry together around sustainability?
Well, I'm very lucky. I'm really, really lucky. So I've been in this wonderful industry for 27 years now. And this industry, my industry that I'm in, is called the brand and licensing industry. I'm getting on a little bit. But I've been really fortunate. I've got to work with some amazing brand owners and launch brands to market, crafting super interesting product and launching them to retail with some amazing campaigns. So I feel really privileged. But actually, I was very lucky, and I got offered a job at National Geographic many, many years ago with an old team of mine, and I kind of landed there thinking, yay, they want to create a consumer products program, not really understanding how working for a brand like National Geographic was going to change me. And so when I started there, we started learning from the wonderful Natural Geographic Society, which is the not-for-profit side of them as a business, of actually our impact on the planet. And, I'd come to talks with these most amazing wildlife photographers and scientists in the field, and wonderful content creators talking about, sorry, you just... Poor you have your plant go off in the background. I tried to ignore it, but it was too noisy.
Right. I'm sorry about that. It couldn't take it.
Don't worry. Don't worry. And I just started learning all this amazing stuff, and very much being spoken about then was 30% by 2030. And I was just like, what does all that mean? And actually during my time, I started learning about the impact on the environment, which then took me to my role and us creating products and the impact that the product industry had on the environment, or has on the environment. And I couldn't believe that this amazing industry that's worth $390 billion globally wasn't talking about it.
Yeah.
So hence, that's why POC started. It just started as a movement for those interested in learning about what sustainability actually means to business, and then looking at, well, how do we start to change that?
Right.
And that was 6 years ago.
Awesome. That must have been such an eye-opening moment. Was that a realization at National Geographic that led you start the product of change?
Definitely. And then from that, it's really, well, going back a little bit further, I kind of turned 40 a couple of years before that, and I decided that I needed to learn. So I actually started subscribing to the National Geographic magazine so I could start learning more about the world, and then ended up working at Nat Geo, and then ended up going on this whole learning journey, and read Let My People Go Surfing by Yvonne Child, who created Patagonia, and that opened my eyes, and then thought I want to learn more. So went to Cambridge and did a course in sustainable business management, and just found this whole new world of learning in my 40s, actually, that totally transitioned how my career. It's never too late. It's never too late. It isn't. And it's totally enabled me to stay within the industry that I love, but totally change what I do on a daily basis for good, which is just amazing.
It is. And remember, Helena, the last time we talked about, and you mentioned National Geographic. Whenever I hear that word, it almost reminds me, all the animal shows.
It does.
So actually, National Geographic do a lot of wide, things and positive impact. So it's just incredible, how you got into it, and it changed your perspective.
It is. I think when you learn something, it's really hard to unlearn it. You can't forget that you've learned that. Well, you can, but I couldn't. My conscience just wouldn't let me. So it just lit a fire in me to really start to learn and understand how to do things differently. And so then I went on my quest to educate myself, and then to find partners that were trying to do things differently. And then through the brand, because the brand had such a big following, we were able to give those partners a platform. So actually enable those partners to do more by connecting them to the brand.
Right. When you first brought people together under Products of Change, correct me, you said 6 years, so it's about 2019, right?
Yeah, 2019.
What was that initial moment like? Did you sense right away that it could become something bigger?
It's funny when you're in a moment like that, you're just really happy that other people care. You're like, yeah, you care. And there were 7 of us in a room, and we just had the most fascinating conversation with really limited knowledge. And then we just shared that on LinkedIn and within the local kind of industry trade press, saying, anybody else care about sustainability? And then within 2 months, we went from 7 people round a table to kind of 40 people round a table.
Wow.
So so that was the appetite. People wanted to learn, and they just didn't know where to start and what it meant for them within business.
Exactly. You provided a platform where people can get together and make a positive impact.
Yeah, a community of people that care like you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying my best, whatever I could do for this industry, and especially for the people and for the planet, because I believe this is the most important thing. Without planet, there are not no humans, right?
Exactly.
And with no humans, there's no planet.
Well, the planet exists.
I mean, the planets exist, but
you know, we know that from science. You know, the planet and
yeah,
nature will always recover. It's just whether we are part of that recovery as a race or not.
exactly. There's a very famous saying I always say in my webisodes. It's that it's not the world which is going anywhere. It's we are. The
Yeah,
planet is here for, billions of years, so it's gonna be
exactly.
staying. We
Yeah,
are the one who's gonna go away if we
exactly.
don't choose the right conscious decisions.
Exactly.
Right. So you managed you said the positive response that you heard from the people at first when you started. Do you remember any of them that inspired you the most? You heard that, oh, you got exactly my point, what I'm trying to make with
Oh,
product of
totally.
change.
I mean, we were really lucky. We have an amazing person within our PhD community called Paul de Earth, and he is the head of product design at University College of the Arts, London. And see, he came to that first meeting, and actually since then he's redesigned that whole product design course to have sustainability all the way through it for that next generation of students that are coming through, which is phenomenal. So when you
Right.
sit there and you start to look at an industry that produces, and you look at design. And it's like, well, all the tools are out there to do this. Like, it's not like we can't do this. We can do this. It's actually just our ability within our
Right.
daily jobs or our knowledge, our lack of knowledge that's stopping us from doing this. So I think just learning from people like that see the, designers are problem solvers. And so to kind of see the world through his lens was really fascinating for me. And like, okay, well, this is just all a big design problem. So how do we design it
Right.
better? How do we do things better? How do we connect and learn for better?
Right. We talked about positive impact and the positive response. What was the negative? Because that is very important to go towards
Yeah.
positive.
Oh, there's
What was
always
that?
always. So if you go, in 2019, sustainability wasn't massively spoken about. You might have, I think
Right.
David Attenborough's Blue Planet had just launched around about that time, where people really were starting to understand the impact of plastic in the environment. But only just now, retail might have an end cap promotion of a organic cotton t-shirt, and that was sustainable. That was as far as it really went.
Right.
So there wasn't a huge amount of examples out there. So actually bringing people together to showcase that was just really important for us to kind of push things further. And there was a lot of people that I had conversations with that were just, well, I'm at the end of my career and I don't really want to change anything. And I'll leave that to the next generation. I don't understand it. What does it mean for me? Sustainability is such a big word. It covers so many things. So
Right.
no legislation was making change. The world has moved on, thankfully, in the last 6 years. But, back then it was still very much the people that cared rather than necessarily core to a business's strategy.
Right. Exactly. So, what were some of the early challenges you faced in helping established companies who take sustainability seriously?
I think if you can show people the how, they can follow it and copy. And I think very early on, there just wasn't a huge amount of the how. So it was just a lot of conversations about the problems, but not necessarily a huge amount showcasing the solutions. And so we then tried really hard to kind of work within our PhD community to go and find those companies that were doing things differently and bring those conversations to the forefront. So even if they're not in our industry, we're bringing their stories forward so people can learn from them. And so that was the hardest thing, actually, is showing why it was important. People thought sustainability just must cost more money, so we don't want to do it. Actually,
Right.
most people that are in sustainability, it's really efficiencies. efficiencies and scale, and efficiency is saving time and saving money. So most people in sustainability are actually saving money, and it's not costing them more money. So there's just a lot of assumptions about sustainability that just aren't true, and so you kind of got to get past all of that first.
Exactly. That's correct. Helena, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that sustainability is the only way to live life in any part of your life. It's not just limited to fashion or one industry. It's a part of life. You have to be sustainable in, for your mental health, your physical health, your well-being, your environment and everything. And the cheap products that we have now are cheap. That's why the sustainability and their prices make us think that they are expensive. Actually, they are the real prices, but the cheap fashion or the cheap products makes us think that that is expensive. Is that correct?
I just don't.
I'm sorry.
No,
Same
no.
like as the organic food. Whenever we look at the organic food, like a fresh food, it always expensive than the ones we have at the supermarket.
And I think it all depends on, so quite a lot of the time, if one area increases, so maybe fertilizer or not using fertilizer, or maybe within those organic farms, you've got more labor. But there are ways when you look at rather than looking at it in one area. So, this fashion is more expensive because the base material cost me more money, because it's been sourced more sustainably, because I paid a fair wage at the farm, because I've transported it differently, because I've used technology for cut and sew, because I've used a recycled material, because all these things add up. So you could say things are more expensive.
Right.
And some elements are more expensive. Let's not pretend that isn't the case. But then if you just look at the packaging, you're saying, let's be efficient in this packaging. Let's be efficient in how we ship. Let's be efficient in the volume that we're buying. And you look at it as a whole entity. For the majority of companies, they're saving money. But what is traditionally happening is companies saying, oh, it's more money for the material, which means we'll increase the price to the retailer, which means we have to increase the margin, which means we have to increase the price point. We don't have to do all of that. The retailer could take a couple of points off their margin, and the seller could take a couple of points off theirs, and we could get more sustainably sourced materials out into the marketplace at an average price. But the constraints that we put around us keep us within that system, but that system just doesn't work. Because then when you look at what's sold through, and actually quite a lot of the time the amount of volume of product that doesn't get to market, and you look at it as a whole and a profit, if you were to do things differently, there'd probably be more profit for those companies. You've got to look at it as a whole system. So yes, they can be more expensive, but they don't always have to be more expensive if the system enables that to be the case. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, if we look from the other perspective, like you explained how sustainable brands works, the packaging, the technology, the sourcing, and all that stuff. Cheap fashion companies, fast fashion companies also do the same thing. They put people for marketing, they put people for packaging, they put people to source material and all that stuff. Why that harms more than the sustainable brand? What is the difference? What is the line between them?
It's probably the volume, the type of materials that they're using, whether there are certain dyes. I don't know their processes in the dye houses, what they're doing with the effluent water. As actually more sustainable brands are saying, we want to pay a better wage. We're going to have a process in place to make sure that that water can be cleaned at site and actually not go out to harm the environment. So they'll pay more money for those infrastructures most of the time. Or they get, the material has been certified to say that, yes, it's been looked after in a certain way, or yes, it's been grown in a certain way. That's why there is more cost to those things.
Right. Exactly. So rethinking the system instead of just the product, right? We have to build a system. So
Exactly.
how has product of change helped companies actually make that shift from awareness to measurable impact? I want to share why ZÁY SHEEN exists. Most of us are used to buying clothes that look good for a moment, but don't last in quality, meaning, or impact. ZÁY SHEEN was built the opposite way. Every piece we create is designed to be timeless, not trend-driven, ethically produced, thoughtfully sourced, and made to be worn for years, not weeks. We believe sustainability doesn't need to be loud or performative. It should feel natural, intentional, and human. Just like the conversation you're watching right now. If you care about what you wear, who made it, and the impact it leaves behind, ZÁY SHEEN was created for you. You can explore the collection and learn more at www.zaysheen.com or tap the first link in the description. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
Well, you've got to think of, if we buy something as a consumer, then we own it. And if we think of circularity, there's an opportunity for you to sell that on and make some money off it. So if you're buying a better quality product, the opportunity for somebody else to want that better quality product secondhand is higher than if you're going to buy something that was bought very cheaply and isn't going to last and might be falling apart or doesn't wash very well. So as a consumer, just buy better, and actually you can earn some money back from that product. You bought a nice jacket that cost you £200, you might be able to sell it for £100 in a couple of years' time, and then that product continues to be in the ecosystem, and living on, rather than having to buy from you all the time. Or brands looking at how they take dead stock and send it to cut and sew houses for that dead stock to be created into something new, and then that something new then gets to be sold on again as a new piece of stock. So that's the kind of stuff that we've been doing within our POC community. Universal Music Group and their merchandising arm provider have been doing a huge amount of work in that space, and how you take non-sold product and give it a new life, and actually how you also then, if you're going to have new product, that new product be from a better source material that can then go on and live a better secondary life. And so not just thinking of that single product, it's how that product lives on.
Exactly. Totally makes sense. Helena, what were some of the early challenges you faced in helping established companies take sustainability seriously?
I think the biggest problem is lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge of the positive impact this could have on the businesses. So, B Corp have released, they've just done a new release of kind of how well all their B Corp companies are doing. And B Corp companies are growing double digit versus the market. So brands that have sustainability and ethical practices rooted through them as a business are outperforming the market. But we didn't have that data all those years ago, so it was very hard to showcase that business case scenario. So knowledge is one thing. Also, sustainability a lot of the time makes a business owner kind of roll their eyes, like, oh, you're talking about that, are you? Actually, we need to change the rhetoric, we need to change the conversation and have it about business efficiencies and making sure that your business is future fit and ready for a future consumer. And so I think we need to change the wording in how we're talking about sustainability. Because sustainability is all about, meeting the needs of today without compromising the needs of tomorrow. That's not business language. That's just us as a people making sure that we can continue as a people. Actually, what we need to do is look at actually what are the business metrics and the levers that we've got to pull to enable us to start to change a whole system.
Right. Can you give us an example of a real case study you working with a brand and transformed them from before to after into this?
I mean, the Lego Group is an amazing example, and they've done a huge amount of work. They've got amazing people internally, but they wanted to work with a lot of their brand licensing partners that are producing products that aren't the Lego brick, but are the other licensed products. So anything that you would then buy with a Lego name on it, but isn't a Lego brick, that's all licensed. And, they've got their internal targets to reduce the impact of them as a business. So they actually employed an amazing packaging expert who enabled their partners to reduce their packaging impact, which meant that they reduced their carbon impact, which meant that they reduced their material impact. So yes, it had all of these amazing positive reductions, But also what it enabled them to do is the partners that were saving all of those impacts were also saving money because they were buying less. They were buying less material. Buying less material, spending less money. Buying less material, paying less taxes. So it kind of had all of these other knock-on effects that were positive to the business, as well as doing the right thing when it comes to environmental productions.
Exactly. That makes totally sense. I mean, I had a guest. I believe she's from Virginia here in the US. She was explaining me how much money the factories, the companies can save just by, having sustainable practices into their company.
Sustainability in a business is just all about efficiencies. Efficiencies is saving money.
Yeah.
It's an efficiency plan. And so again, it's switching the rhetoric. It's like, okay, if you said to somebody, how do we make this more efficient and save some money? They'd be like, oh, we could do this, 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 this. That's a sustainability plan. It's the same things that you would do if you'd say, how do we make this more sustainable? It's just, but if you bring it into a common language and for the everyday person, and it changes everything.
Exactly. That's, such a smart reframing. Efficiency or as sustainability. How do you help leaders make that mindset shift so it feels like smart business, not just a moral choice?
FOMO, a fear of missing out. If somebody else is doing it and you're not doing it, that does not look good for your business.
Okay.
It's human nature. You don't want to be the person not doing good at business. So we say, well, this person's doing this. They're really similar to you. You could do that, couldn't you? Well, yeah, of course I could. You don't want to be left out, do you? No, I don't want to be left out. You want to be a market leader? Of course I do. Okay, so how do you get ahead of that? And you show it by doing, by pointing and saying, look what they're doing. There's not many companies that want to be first out the gate. And the ones that are first out the gate, wow, they're doing amazing things, but most people will follow.
Makes sense. Of course, when they see the FOMO thing, first of all, and the second of all, it actually make profits to their business and, have better systems into their business.
Exactly. There's a business that's doing a really good job. They're saving money and they're in double-digit growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not smart not to follow that, is it?
Exactly.
Nobody wants to feel like they're the stupid one.
So how have you seen that sense of community and shared progress shape the culture within Product of Change?
I think what's amazing is, I spent a long time on the cold face of a commercial role where very much everything is a closed book. You don't share what you're doing. Obviously, you never talk about price. It's against the law to do that anyway. But within industry, everybody very much keeps everything to themselves and they don't share anything. Interesting is within the world of sustainability or efficiencies in business, whatever we now want to call it, people are very happy to share that progress because they know that progress is bigger than them as an entity. And actually, the only way that they're going to get more progress is if the rest of the market comes with them. And so, it's a bit like Tesla. You don't want to keep that technology to yourself. You open source the technology. Everybody makes electric cars. You then own the grid that feeds the electric cars. It's genius. It's the same with the rest of industry. You open up and showcase what you're doing. And you can move things along. And so, and that's what we found. So suddenly you've got top 5 toy companies globally are sat around a table together. Top 5 retailers are sat around a table together. Top 5 brand owners, top 10 brand owners, top 33 brand owners are sat around the table together. And they're building shared methodologies to help them as an industry advance forward because they can't do it all on their own. If you need the price of recycled plastics to come down, you need to build a system. You can't do that on your own. Same with fashion. If you want to build more circularity and have more fabrics in the system, not one company can do that on their own. So within this conversation, is bigger than one company, and that's why they've all been very happy to share. And then when they share, you can show what they're doing, and then you can create that momentum for others to come and follow.
Exactly. Like a snowball effect.
Exactly.
Actually, that's incredible. You have competitors sitting together and collaborating like that. That's amazing.
But they're happy to, and the companies that are doing it are really, really proud to do
Wow.
that. And then the ones that aren't doing it, they're like, oh my gosh, okay, did you see what so and so's doing? We need to go and do some of that. How did they do that? Okay, we can go and do that. And it's quite amazing. And when you then see that conversation really pick up.
Right. So what does that kind of openness by the brands or by the companies, which I think is huge, and you did a lot of work to make, sit them all together at one table. Openness say about how the industry itself is evolving.
Oh, I think it's if you look over the last 6 years from when we did our first conference, I think maybe 12% of people that came to the conference knew what the Sustainable Development Goals were. It was just, people just didn't even know what to do. So then they just kind of ignored it until they were told what to do. To today, where we've got, a huge proportion, I think something like 80% of the top 10 global retailers have climate goals. A huge amount of them, maybe even 6%, have signed up to the Science Based Target Initiative, where they're actually tracking that progress on a yearly basis. The same with the brand owners. A huge portion of the brand owners are requiring it. There is so much happening on the inside of industry that the consumer just doesn't see on a day-to-day basis. And suddenly it will just feel like industry's transitioned, a bit like us with all of our online shopping. Just one day we just do it, but it doesn't just happen like that. It happens over time. And that's what's happening within retail and brand with this transition. Suddenly it will feel like it was just the way we always did it, but it's been building slowly in the background for the last 6 years.
Right. For me, being in this industry, I can say that's such a huge shift in just a few years that you made. What do you think sparked that acceleration? Was it the policies, consumers'
Definitely.
pressure, or the industry finally realizing the business opportunity?
I think consumer pressure starts it. Policies definitely accelerated it by far. And actually, I think if the geopolitical situation was a little bit better and hadn't changed at the beginning of the year, I think that would be much further ahead in sustainability than we are. Externally, it seems like the sustainability conversation has slowed down, and there's definitely been a backpedaling in government funding. But there hasn't necessarily been a backpedaling in private business funding. As in, there's a lot happening in private business, and that is because of legislation pushing the hand. Definitely.
Right. Slowly, but we're getting there.
I mean, my golly gosh, we got so far to go. There's so much to do, from transparency and data and systems, and there's so much to do. But industry has moved dramatically over the last couple of years, and very much over the last 2 has been accelerated for sure.
Exactly, especially after the COVID, I would say, it got a huge spark, and especially people prioritizing sustainability in their life too after what happened.
I think during COVID as well, I think a lot of people realized the negative side of business as well, just with the sheer volume of stuff that got left in factories, retailers not necessarily moving forward with their orders. I think there was a mirror held up to a lot of that kind of bad behavior, and there's been a lot of stuff that's been in place to stop that happening in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. Okay, Helena, that was such a serious talk.
I was going to say we've been very serious there.
Yeah, right. Let's lighten our mood with our next segment, which called Rapid Fire. It's a very popular one here.
Okie dokie.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so we'll go with the first question. I don't know why I'm moving too much today. You might be noticing me too.
We're fine.
I don't know. Okay, thank you. Thank you. One word that defines products of change.
Community.
Beautiful. Sustainability or innovation, what drives you more?
Innovation, because innovation enables us to be more sustainable.
Process.
Exactly.
Process. Exactly. What's a code you live by?
So my kids will say this is my everyday. I always say, just do the next best thing. Just do the next best thing. Because sometimes, especially in life, can feel so overwhelming. But that one step and that one step and that one step gets you to where you need to get to. But just do that next best thing.
That is wonderful. Helena, you know what? I was actually thinking about that last night. I was outside and I was, just brainstorming my stuff. I talk to myself a lot.
Me
So I was
too.
just talking to my that's awesome. People call me crazy whenever I say them. Oh, who you were talking to? I was talking to myself. Are you crazy?
No.
Yes, maybe. I don't think so. But okay. So I was actually thinking it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, if you just do the next best thing that you can think of in your business,
Exactly.
in your life, in your relationship, that would be the best option or best step to take.
Exactly. I mean, I did a dance degree at university. I did absolutely nothing to do with sustainability or business. And over the last 27 years, I've learnt it, but on the job, and then obviously going back and doing my sustainability studies. So just do the next best thing. Connect to the next
Right.
best person. Learn from the person close to you. You
Right.
can build that all up over time.
Even though you have lots of knowledge, still you don't know that one thing that you should be known. So you just try your best and you get there.
And there's
Right.
no stupid question. If you don't know the answer, it's not a stupid question, because it would be more stupid not to ask.
Wow, that was a great thing. Come again, please.
Well, there's no stupid question, because if you
Okay.
don't know the answer, then you would be more stupid to not ask it and not know than to ask it and learn it.
Wow, that was huge for me. Wow. Thank you very much. Coffee, tea, or conference and rendezvous?
As in, what do I prefer out of all of them?
Just pick one.
Well,
You
I'm
just
a
had the conference too.
but I'm a tea belly. I'm a Northern English girl, and I probably drink about 15 cups of tea a day. If I could sit
Wow,
here with a pot of
that is
tea, I
awesome.
would sit here with a pot of tea. Well, I do sometimes, actually. So always tea. Love the conference, but would not live without a nice cup of tea. And actually, if I'm ever having a really bad day or a really bad moment, a cup of tea always solves it for me.
That's right. 100%.
I've got them all
That's
today.
Me. That's me. Yeah, I can't think of anything without a tea.
Nope. I go through
I'm
my
sad.
morning tea, my evening tea.
Even I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm jumping, I'm sleeping, whatever I'm doing, just let's have a cup of tea.
Exactly.
Tea is life. I mean, there's a lot of debate than coffee or tea, but I'll go with tea over. Okay, the one word the industry needs to retire.
To retire, as in we're
Yeah.
done? As in, if there's one word the industry needs, it's collaboration. Does that answer the question?
That's, I don't know. Maybe I'm actually very glad, Helena, that I think like you, because I think we don't need competitors if we having a same goal to get where we want to go, and other companies or other people have the same goals to get there where we want to go. Why we are competing with each other?
Exactly.
Why don't we collaborate and go together to make a force?
Exactly. And what do you want from life anyway? I mean, come on.
You will go empty-handed anyways. Wow, I'm very glad. Okay, next question. A sustainability buzzword that's lost its meaning.
Oh, there's so many. Sustainability, actually, in itself has lost its meaning. It's been used so many times, and
Every guest says that.
do they all say that? Okay.
Everyone says that.
I can think of another one.
No, I mean, everyone says that, so that means that's a reality. Sad
It is a
reality.
reality. It is, but we overuse it because, 6, 7 years ago, people started bringing scientific language into marketing, and we changed the meaning.
Right. Okay. Give me another word, by the way.
Net zero, carbon neutral. I mean, all of these, well, you're not going to be allowed to say it as part of European law anyway, because it's greenwashing. Greenwashing, greenhushing, all of the green words. Basically lying,
Evergreen lying.
misleading. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What's your favorite part of the workday?
Oh, you see, I like a morning because I don't think I can answer the favourite part of the workday.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. I don't think I can answer that.
So, what about the best place to work? I mean, like in your office where you're sitting right now, or somewhere else where love to be yourself and work in.
Oh, I love so the team get together, we go to a WeWork in Waterloo, and there's a really nice vibe there, a lot of young people in there, and I love being around people and working with people because I think you can connect and bounce ideas off each other, so I love that. I'd say maybe the best time of the day is when I've been and done my spinning class in the morning, and at 6:30, and I'm like, right,
wow,
my exercise is banked
you
for the
definitely need your
day.
tea at that time.
Definitely, I have a tea before I go in. I have my tea, spin, and then I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the day.
And then tea again.
Yeah, you know me already. And then tea again, exactly. And then go wake the family up, and then the day starts. So that's kind of my really nice little sacred time where that's my bit done, and then the rest of the day can unfold as it needs to unfold.
Exactly, that's right. One small change that makes the biggest impact in your life or in your business.
People committing. Just commit to do something. If you say you're going to do it, actually do it. If you say you're going to connect to somebody, actually connect. Like commit to what you say you're going to do.
Wow. It reminds me of a friend of mine. He gets so pissed if somebody commit to him that I gonna do that and they don't do it. He said, if you don't do it, just say don't do it. I'll do that. Just don't commit if you don't have to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. Nice. Last but not least, what's a moment that made you proudest at POC?
So we've just finished our conference, and it was our best conference yet. And we brought loads of different things to the conference this year. And one element we brought is we brought an amazing illustrator called Andy, and he illustrated every single one of the talks that we had over the day. So it was so. I mean, I'm dyslexic, so I'm a creative learner, a creative thinker. I learn differently. So to be able to have him bring the energy of illustration to really showcase the day was amazing. Our conference this year was our best one yet, and I just felt really proud of all the conversations, the community, and what we're achieving, of being able to bring things to that next level. So that was my it's all worth it moment when I was just like, yes, it went really well.
Beautiful. Finish this sentence. The future of POC is
in the hands of our industry.
And do you believe in the industry?
Totally. The industry's doing some amazing things. Really is. The future in POC is in that next generation. I'm not going to be pulling it for forever. The hope is it survives longer than I am here, and it can continue to be a force for good.
Yeah, a legacy type.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Have somebody else come and push innovation and connect.
Yeah, we're talking about legacy. Let me ask you this. What legacy means to you? Or have you ever actually thought about it to build or make a legacy or leave a legacy with POC?
Never thought about that, because I came on this journey because it felt like the right thing to do, but very blind to how the journey was going to unfold, as in running your own business, going against the grain of the industry, you know, trying to do things differently. And sometimes that feels really heavy. You feel like you're on your own, but only because you allow yourself to feel like that. As actually you look at all the positives, and there's so much amazing stuff going on out there that we've been a part of delivering. And so I would love POC to live on and be able to continue to connect and drive innovation and look back in 10 years' time and go, wow, look at what we created. But I will just continue to do the next best thing and see where that takes me.
I love that. I love that how you are doing it selflessly, and you just wanted to make a change and help people, help the industry, make it a better place.
Blind
for the
stupidity,
future.
maybe.
Wow, that was a good word. Oh wow. I'll
Dunno.
save this one too. Wow, that was awesome. Blind stupidity. Okay. I remember a word one of the guests said before. She uses that people call the people who love sustainability or do sustainable stuff a tree hugger.
Okay.
You ever heard of that?
I've heard of a tree hugger. I've hugged a tree before.
I mean, not actually hugging the tree.
I have
but
actually
they
hugged a
call
tree
them
before.
mock us. Okay, that's cool then. But you know,
think-
they just call us a tree hugger. I said, yeah, that's a cool name. Actually, I don't mind somebody calls me that.
Exactly. I actually just think it's I think in life you can go and you can be super duper selfish, which of course lots of people are. I think also there are things in life where you can go and you can be empathetic to the world and try and do things differently. And I think it all depends on what you want to get out of your time on the planet. Of course, I'd love to have loads of money. I had a really great job, but I get so much from the job that I do that it's okay that I'm not doing what I used to do, because actually I'm enjoying this.
Right.
So it's
that's the thing.
people
Wow,
that
that's
care.
beautiful.
I think it's
Right.
the people that care.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So since we're getting in more serious topics, let's lighten our moods again. You made me so curious about the conference that you had. I don't have any prepared questions for this, but I just wanted to know what happened, what it was, how was it, where the idea come from, what was the behind the scenes work, and is that was something, the outcome that you were expecting?
So the conference came before. So POC was a movement, but the conference was the first thing that we did where we actually charged people to come to, because education and knowledge is the biggest blocker to progress. And so we decided, well, let's do a conference and let's showcase what everybody's doing and let's increase everybody's knowledge. So that's kind of why the conference exists. And then throughout the year on the Products Change platform, we have loads of conversations and we do about 40 webinars a year. But the conference is where the community comes together and they see what's happening within the community, but also where you look forward to the future of industry. So you really get to peek over the hedge of what's coming, which means that businesses can really start to get themselves ready for that. And so this year we had, IKEA come. I've been trying to get IKEA to the conference for the last 5 years. Finally, they said yes. We had Lego, we had Tesco's, we had Small, we had Universal Music Group, we had a panel with all of our heritage members. It was just really rich in conversation. And rather than us just talking about the problem, which is what you get in a lot of conferences, I really wanted to show the how. So every person that came and presented this year or came onto a panel was showing practical examples of how. And so people took that away and they can go and do stuff with that. And that's why it felt so good, because we're no longer just talking about it. We're actually saying, here's how to go and do it. So that's why the conference this year felt so amazing.
Helena, you mentioned about a couple of times or maybe 3 times about showing how to the people, and that's how they get motivated, or that's your tactic, whatever it is. Give me an example. Maybe happened on the at the conference where you showed a person about how and you got a positive impact.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
positive
so
response.
yeah, so Lego came and showed all that great work that I was talking about before on the packaging. Then we had one of
Yeah.
those SMEs come and showcase how they did it. So practical examples of before and after, the impact, the before and after. So they were tangibly showing people like how they did it, you know, how they went on that journey and the positive impact of that.
Hmm.
Even IKEA is a big retailer. They were showcasing, you know, how they're engaging with their consumer and they're building circularity into everything that they're doing, and how
Yeah.
they're making all their general managers of the countries also sustainability experts. And because it's all about how we embed that knowledge throughout the whole of business. So it's just, you know, it's just showing the how across everything that we did. Yeah.
Wow, that was awesome. What was your most favorite part about the conference?
We had a wonderful lady called Carolyn Petit from the United Nations come and open the conference, which was just
Wow.
amazing. So it just showed, I guess, the seriousness of the conversation and just
Hmm.
how, you know, entities like the UN are supporting industry. Um,
Yeah.
then we had Open Planet come and showcase how they're driving cultural change through their content. And their latest documentary was David Attenborough's Ocean. And so we had like real examples of amazing people and companies driving change. And I
Right.
think a lot of people left just feeling really uplifted that, well, we can do this.
Hmm.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And what are the two things that you notice and you will do that better next time at the next conference?
I think definitely people love to connect and to talk, and so we just need to build more elements in for that for next year, and for people to
Okay.
follow up with each other afterwards, because that's when the magic happens.
Hmm.
Really, is you put
Wow.
people, you create the conditions for change, and then people go ahead and they do it. So it's how we just create more of that together.
That's awesome.
I think that's all we need to do. I think that, you know,
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah. How are you gonna build that system of the following up? The second thing that you mentioned.
I think just I think we can easily showcase who's in the room, and if the people that are in the room are happy to share details, then we'll do that on their behalf.
Hmm.
Mm,
Wow.
I know.
That's cool.
It's all
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah, awesome. So, what was the biggest takeaway for you personally from this year's conference?
I think that this subject is well and truly on the table. Every
Hmm.
company is dealing with the legislation that's coming.
Right.
And most of the people, if there was one or two of them that came, they want to bring more of their team. As most companies are saying, we need to integrate this throughout the whole of our business, which is really exciting. So that was my
Yeah.
biggest takeaway is actually people now want to roll this out, which is a real turning for industry.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm,
That's cool.
really
Anything
cool.
that we're missing yet and you wanted to tell me or us about the event?
Not at all. I think, you know, for me, we all need to learn. And the way we do that is through best practice and showing and seeing how other
Hmm.
people are doing it. And I think any event that you can go to that does that is just going to increase your knowledge. And it means that you can take that
Yeah.
knowledge back to your business and at home personally,
Yeah.
and really start to make some big changes, which to me is super
Awesome.
exciting. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Who are the people, key people on your team for this conference? And how
Is
many
it?
people you hosted?
So we had 230 people there in person,
Wow.
and then we had another 150 that came and joined us online from all over the world, which was really
Beautiful.
exciting. Yeah,
Beautiful. I'll join next time.
I hope so.
Zoom. Yeah.
Thank you.
No, definitely. I didn't know that you can join in.
Yeah,
Did
you
you
can
did
join
you
in.
did you put it on your LinkedIn that you could join
Yeah, we
online?
said you can join online. Yeah, we did. Maybe use
I'm
some more
sorry, I
about the
missed it.
in-person tickets. No, that's fine. Next time we'll
Okay.
make sure that we communicate that more.
Oh yeah, please, please. So our next segment is community questions. Let me explain you what it is. It is that we put a poll on our social media, especially on Instagram, where we put all your information about the guest and your profiles and whatever the things are, and ask the community any questions that you have for this upcoming guest, and we'll ask your questions on your behalf to the guest. Okay,
Okay.
so the very first question we got from our community is, How can small businesses begin their sustainability journey without massive resources?
I think any small business can start to understand where their biggest impact lies. So if they're a producer, it's most likely going to be in the materials that they're buying. So then they can say, okay, what is the biggest material that we're buying? How do we start to reduce that impact? And so there's actually quite a lot that you can start to do as a small business. Start asking questions down your supply chain. How are they socially managing the supply chain? Does the supply chain have any initiatives in place for sustainability? There's some quite simple things that you can do to start to build a case up of the supply chain that you're working with, or a picture up of the supply chain that you're working with. And a lot of people do that through their invoices. Just have a couple of questions on the bottom of their invoices, so it hasn't even got be a whole of the system, and you can start to build that up. And then put a mini group together, get your own little green committee, and then have people within that committee be responsible for activating different things.
Beautiful. I don't have a follow-up question, but if you do, whoever asks me, you can ask in the comments. What's the difference between being sustainable and communicating sustainability effectively?
So I think so nothing is sustainable, full stop. Especially when we're looking at products. We can reduce our impact, but it's not sustainable unless we were fully circular. So I think, that bit, let's get that bit right now for anybody that's listening. I think communicating sustainability, especially over in Europe, if you communicate things that aren't true, you can be fined for it. So if you're going to communicate sustainability, only ever tell the truth. Don't assume or make things up or try and make them a little bit more fluffy, because actually it's really misleading for a consumer.
I see. Beautiful. How do we hold large corporations accountable for greenwashing?
I think there are entities that are already doing that. Again, in Europe, there's a Competitions and Marketing Authority that are charging those big companies for greenwashing. I know you don't necessarily have that over in the US yet, but the hope is that that will come at some point. You never know.
Yeah.
And actually, I think the consumer holds large companies and entities responsible. So I think just as a consumer, we've got to continue to ask the right questions.
Right. I also heard that in France, a brand similar to our name opened a shop in the heart of Paris.
And they've done that because their business model in which they operate won't be able to continue. As in, you won't be able to. So basically, there's laws on fashion in France that are coming out where you will be fined if you operate in a certain way. So that's why they've opened those stores up. So their business model is changing because of the new laws that are coming in. So they can't continue to operate in the way that they have been.
So they don't get fined opening a shop.
Well, if they open a shop, there's a whole load of rules that they need to then comply with when it comes to import and export. That currently they don't have to, but that rule is changing, and so it will be more efficient for them to open stores and do it that way. They might end up being one of the most sustainable brands out there. Who knows? I mean, if they totally switch how they do things, you don't know.
I really hope so. Otherwise, I don't know. We have a similar names. Sometimes I just get in overthinking. Anyways, or maybe if they don't turn, we're gonna make the impact.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just need to. I know we're in the middle of recording. I put meetings in my diary from 3:00, thinking that we would be done at 3 and not go until past. So, I just want to double check. If you have loads more, then I'll let the people know that I'm running really late. Or if we don't, then we can wrap up. I just want to be really honest with you, rather than me sitting here panicking
Thank you
I'm
for
missing
that.
stuff.
If you really need to go, we can definitely wrap up in the 5 minutes.
Do you mind?
Okay, we can do that.
I feel bad because they're waiting for me.
It's fine.
Sorry. I'm so
okay,
sorry.
No worries. So let's do 2 more questions and that's it. Okay? From the community.
Amazing.
Perfect. Okay. So the next question. How can consumers, not companies, drive real systematic change?
So we vote with our wallet. So what we're spending our money on, that's what people make more of. So if we vote with the money that we've got for the types of brands that we want to support, then that does that for us. That's kind of our activism in ourselves, and we're seeing that through the brands that are coming through. And also, especially in Europe and lots of other markets, actually, there's something called a digital product passport, which means that every product that comes in or out of Europe, and China will be doing this as well, and some of the markets, has to have a digital indicator of its environmental impact. And so actually, if we move forward 3, 4, 5 years, a consumer is going to be able to see the environmental impact of stuff that gets made, so you can start to decide whether you want to buy this or this, because actually it will all be comparable. As obviously today, you need good knowledge to have an understanding of what an impact means. As moving forward, you'll be able to see the carbon impact of one product versus the carbon impact of another product, and you'll be able to make a decision. You'll be able to make a decision in Europe and in China, but I'm sure that other markets will adopt something similar.
Beautiful. Last question from our community segment. She says, Helena, I really appreciate all the work that you are doing for this industry to make it better. And I've been following you for a long time. Okay.
That's
She's
nice.
one of your followers. Right. So she says that, what's one myth about sustainability you wish everyone understood?
Well, I think I said this earlier on. I think a myth is that sustainability costs money. And some elements do, but actually, as we're seeing time and time again, having a strategy that's got sustainability and efficiency is rooted all the way through, it doesn't necessarily. So to me, that would be the biggest myth buster, is actually just give it a go. Or that sustainability is just too much. Break it down and just do that next thing. Do that next thing.
Right. Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Helena. That's it about for our community segment.
Thank you.
And it was such an amazing answers that you give to the people. And hopefully if they have some more questions, they can put it down in the comment section, and we'll go from there. And thank you very much again for joining me here on the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. As I said, long time waiting, but I'm very glad that we finally made it.
And I'm glad, and thank you so much.
No, it is my pleasure to have such an incredible people on the webisode, including you, with such an unique experiences in the background, and years and years and years, over 27 years, you said, of experience in this industry, and keep going. And it's just it was just an honor to have you here.
No, and thank you. And thanks for all the work that you do. So you keep going as well. And thank you to your community for caring.
Of course. No, it is my pleasure and our pleasure. Before you go, anything that you wanted to share, positive words for the people?
I think just keep going.
Any message?
Keep going. If you need something, a piece of information, go and ask the person that you know has got it. Most people would be happy to talk to you. If they can't go to somebody who knows them, eventually you'll get to them, and eventually you'll get your answer. You've just got to keep persevering.
Beautiful. That was awesome. One request, Helena. If I can get your mom's advice again.
My mum's advice?
No, I mean your mom advice. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, so mine's
the best
always
one
is just do the next best thing.
The best thing.
Next best thing.
Wow, that was awesome. Sorry to miss saying it. But
just
it's
do
fine.
the next best thing. Yeah.
Do the next best thing. Yeah. Thank you very much again, people, for watching us here on the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. And again, I'll see you guys with the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.